Hello friends, welcome back to another video of tips and tricks. So as I mentioned in my last video that I'll be showing aliases and how to create your own commands in Unix in my next video. So this video is all about that. So the easiest way to create your own shortcuts or the commands is alias. So let's start with the alias. So how would you define the alias? That goes in a file which is known as dot profile. So if we see right now on this is my home directory for user one, and if we see the directories or the files which are there, we do not see a dot profile file here, right? So let's create a dot profile file. So it is a hidden file which goes to your home directory, whatever your home directory for the user is, right? So we'll create a dot profile, and you might have seen me hitting ll multiple times on my demos, right? So that ll is a shortcut which is by default given in some of the Unix flavors, but if you do not have that shortcut which is for listing all the files and the directories in a directory, right? So you can create it from the alias. So what we need to do, we just need to write here alias, and then we'll give ll equal to ls hyphen lrt. So that is what I want to do whenever I hit ll, and just write it. So if I hit LL now, is it gonna work? Not yet, right? Why? Because we have not sourced our dot profile. So dot profile file gets loaded when you log into the server. So to load it or to source it, either you have to log off and log in back, or there is a command as source itself, and you just need to give source and dot profile. So it will just reread your profile file. And now if we run the ll command, it is gonna show you total 0. So there is no other than hidden files here, right? So it is saying 0. And if we just, for example, let's create a file, and if we do ll again, it is showing you the file, right? So that is how you can create a simple shortcut or simple command for yourself using the alias, right? So let's see another example of alias with the dot profile itself. Okay, so if you remember in my last video, I said that to uh, to disable SSH login prompt asking yes every time to add it to known host, right? We used option strict host checking no, right? So we can add that here itself. So if we do here alias and okay, so if we do something like this, so you are giving your SSH to work as SSH with option strict host key checking no. So now you are actually redefining your SSH command itself as something else. Okay, so let's write it and let's see what happens. So let's see our known host first before we try that. Okay, so known hosts just have Ubuntu 03, right? So if we try to log into Ubuntu 01, it should ask us uh, for the prompt for the known host addition, right? But because we have added alias there, it wouldn't be asking. So let's try that. So let's try to log into Ubuntu 01. Okay, it is still asking. Why? Because we have again not resourced our dot profile. So let me exit here. So, so that actually confirms that Ubuntu 01 was not added and it is still trying to add it, right? Now let's source our dot profile again. Okay, we sourced it. And if now we try to log into Ubuntu 01, it did not ask that confirmation, right? So it automatically is going to add the Ubuntu 01 keys to the known hosts as we saw in the previous video, right? Okay, so it is logged into Ubuntu 01, right? And if we come back to Ubuntu 02 and if we see the known host again, it has added the key for Ubuntu 01 there, which was not there without us asking confirmation for hitting yes manually, right? So we changed our SSH command to work differently, right? Okay, so that was alias, and you can add whatever aliases you prefer to, whatever commands you would like to modify for yourself. That was just a couple of examples, which is pretty much useful for anyone. Okay, so second option to create your own commands is create your own binaries. So before we look how to create the binaries, let's look at this command first. Echo dollar $path. So dollar $path is an environment variable if you are aware of the basics of Unix. So dollar $path shows you all the location of the binaries from where you can execute the commands, right? So right now, if you see, you have user local has been, local bin has been, user has been slash bin and all that, right? So all these locations have all the default binary commands which is provided with the Ubuntu OS, correct? So what you can do, you can create your own binary files, and to do that you have to just create a bin directory at your own path. You can create it at any other path too, but whatever path you would create, you have to add it to the dollar path, which we'll be seeing just after this. Okay, so once you create this bin path, let's add this to the echo dollar path. So what we can do, we have to export dollar path, and we have to add your home directory. So this is tilde sign, which is a shortcut for your home directory. So you can use tilde sign and then you can just give bin. Okay, so this is the command you would execute after creating the binary directory. So now if we see the echo dollar path again, it has added this home user one bin path to your uh, environment variable path, right? Okay, so now you can have binaries on this path too. So let's move to this directory. So let's create a simple script to read any file without blank lines and without any of the commented lines. Okay, so let's create the file as no comments. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna do cat simple command, and then I'll use $1, which is like taking a variable to the script. So $1 is the first variable which would be given to the my script, and I'll use grep command -v, which is kind of reverse that exclude this, and I'll use this. So if you are familiar with grep, you would know what I'm doing here. If you're not, I'll just explain it. So I'll just type it and then explain it. Okay, this, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm reading a file, and in the second grab and the first grab, what I'm doing is read at the start of the line, and if that is the end of the line, that means if it is a blank line, right, just exclude it. So uh, cap sign and the dollar sign is a symbol for start of the line and end of the line. So the start of the line and end of the line, if it is same, that means it is a blank line. So I'm just excluding those blank lines. And the second grep, what I'm doing here is start of the line. If it is starting with hash, that means it is a commented line. Just exclude that one too. Okay, so that is my simple script and very useful script, which I'm using almost every day, right? So another thing you have to do to make it your command is you have to change its permission to the executable. So right now, if we see what we have here, we have the file created, but the permissions are 664, right? So we need to change it to 7 for the user at least. So let's change it to 774. Okay, so let's make it 774, no comments. Okay, now it has been made a executable script, and we have already added the dollar path. We have already added our path to dollar path, so it knows that we can have our commands at this path. So let's try to run this command. Okay, no commands. And as I mentioned, it is gonna take a variable, so let's give a variable. So let's read a file etc ssh, which we have been reading multiple times, ssh. So if we see here the output, it does not have any of the blank lines, it does not have any of the commented lines. And if you try to read this file without The no comments command which we created, it has lot of commented and the blank lines. I mean, if you just want to compare, idiot, right? And if we see here, see 29. So you have trimmed your content to just the lines which you want to see and which are uncommented, right? Which is actually making the configuration file rather than all the commented remarks and explanation and the blank lines for more human readability and all that, right? So you are just reading the 29 lines, which is actually making the configuration um, in SSHD config, correct? So this you can use with any of the files. I mean, you can just give no commands and what ed access.conf, which is kind of every day you're gonna need if you are modifying users and the groups in this file. If you would have seen my user access and management video, right? So there I had explained how to add all these net groups and how they work, right? So if we see the content of this file without my command, no comments, it has a lot of commented lines and the blank lines, right? So it is very useful command, and that is how you would create your own command, simple command, right? So now let's see another example of creating your own command with little more complication, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write a simple for loop to log into other servers and check few things. Again, this is very useful and I do use it almost every day in my job. So let's see that. Okay, so let's create a file again. Let's create a command again, um, as check servers. Oops, check servers. Okay, and what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna write a simple loop here. So for I in what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read a file here. So let's name it as servers here, and let's do, and what I'm going to do here is use same SSH option which we used earlier, right? uh, for strict host key checking. So let's add that here, and what I'm going to do is use -l option and give my user1. If you want to give another user, you can give another user. Okay, and then I'll use the $I, which is a script variable here which we are using. If you're aware of the for loop, you will be pretty much understanding what I'm doing here. And I'm gonna again use $1, which is a variable, right? Okay, and then done. Okay, so this is a simple for loop. Let me explain what I'm trying to do here exactly. Okay, so I'm just reading a file with servers and I'm trying to log into that server with user1 and run a command which I'll be passing to my script. Okay, that is all I'm doing. And now let's write it. And again, like we changed the permission for the previous one, we have to change it to the executable for this file too. So let's create a file servers which we are using in this command, right? So this is the file name. So let's create a servers, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add my servers which I have like Ubuntu 01, Ubuntu 02, Ubuntu 03. So I have added all of my servers here, and let's write it. Okay, now run this command check servers with a parameter like I mentioned. $1 is gonna take a parameter. So let's run this with a parameter what? Uname hyphen R. Suppose I want to check the kernel. What is the kernel level for all of these servers? Okay, and if you see here, it is not going to ask me to add the key even though I'm trying to log in for the first time, right? So it is just adding the key because I'm using a strict host key checking no within the script, right? Okay, and if you see here now, it has shown you the output of all the three servers for uname hyphen r, right? Yet it has added two servers without asking you for the confirmation to add to known host, right? Now let's try to uh, modify our command little bit. So this is what it is right now. Let's modify this to make it little bit more interesting. Okay, so right now it has this. It is simply showing you an output, and let's add this line. Okay, echo and with hyphen n option, which is that don't go to the next line for after printing this. Okay, so what I'm gonna print here is $I. That means the server name and a space, and that is all. And let's run that command again and see what happens. If you see here, it is showing me the server name Ubuntu 01, and it is just giving a space, and after that it is gonna show me the kernel version for Ubuntu 01. Okay, so see, for all the three servers, it has shown me the server name, and in front of it, it is showing me the kernel version for that server. So this command is something which I have, like I mentioned, I'm using almost every day to check the servers when I'm having multiple of hundreds of thousands of servers. So quickly I can run a command to verify the other servers, right? So if you see here, my Ubuntu 03 is upgraded to LTS 18. So that's why the kernel version is different, and 01 and 02 is having a different version because it is still on 16, right? So simple command, and you can of course run this with any of other commands, like if you want to check the uptime for all of your servers, that when they were rebooted last, or when since when they are up, you can simply run command like this, right? Okay, so see here, it is showing me the uptime for all three servers. So this is pretty useful command, and the other one also is pretty useful to show the contents of a file which actually you want to see, leaving the commented lines or the blank lines. So just a couple of examples, the useful examples, which is kind of a need for everyone. So hopefully this will be helpful to you. But before I close this video, there is the last thing which I want to show you. So we saw the echo dollar path and we added that manually here, right? But if you want to add it to your profile, and you want this to be available every time you log into the server, you have to add it to your dot profile file. So what are you gonna do? Okay, I'm on bin, so let me move back. So what you need to do is vi dot profile and just add a line here and make sorry, export, and then what we did for the path, right? So let me type it. So path equal to, and then we did dollar path and the same thing, right? Tilde sign and bin. Okay, and that is all. So with this, every time you log in, you would be seeing that path. If you don't add it here in dot profile, you would be losing this home user bin from your path, and you won't be able to run any of these commands. Okay, if you want to see, I can actually show you here itself. So let me do this. Let me comment this and log off and log back in. So if you see here, echo dollar path, your path for the home directory is gone, and if you now try to run any of the commands like no commands, it's not gonna take it, right? So I'm hitting tab, it is not showing me any commands, and if you try to run the command which we ran earlier, it is saying that okay, check servers is not found. Okay, so let me modify dot profile again and show you that it works. So vi dot profile and just remove this, write it, log log out and log in again. Okay, and if we see the command we ran for access.conf, not this one. Okay, this one with the no comments, right? And if we try to run it again, it is executed, right? And if you see here, I'm not using dot slash like you would use for any of your executable files when you're running the script itself, right? So dot slash is used when you are running a script as is, not with the binary which you have added to echo dollar path. So right now, if I see my echo dollar path, because we have, oh, sorry, if because we have added it to the dot profile, it has this path, right? So I can run no commands or any of the commands which is there on dot your home directory bin as like any other commands. And if I try to just do this with tab, and it will show me all the commands as any other default commands, right? So it is showing me when I hit no and the tab, it is showing me no login, no hub, which are the default commands for the OS, and it is showing me my command too, right? No commands. So that is how the binary and the command works. Well, so this was all I wanted to share in this video. Hopefully you will find this helpful, and thank you for watching.